All right. The next one is the regulators to the banks to stop using LIBOR. This is not something that's new. It's something that's been going on since 2015 when Tom Hayes, UBS Group AG, and Citigroup Incorporated was convicted as ringleader of a LIBOR manipulating, hundreds of these guys. So that crew, but the LIBOR was never really heavily governed. It's the London Interbank Offer Rate. It's the interest at which banks are basically allowed to trade, lend to each other. And as a result of small manipulations and small number of basis points, right, just little bits of here and there, they were able to make hundreds of millions of dollars and scraping them. They were basically scalping the market by manipulating the prices of this rate. And it's been called since then, UK, for the US, everyone's saying you have to get rid of this. We have to find a better way of doing this because, these scandals, they can't exist. The problem is that LIBOR has become so big that it underpins literally trillions of dollars of contracts. So finding, and not only do you have to update the metrics on all these things, but now you have to come with a new way of managing this rate, a new way of calculating it and keeping it secure, and then convert everything to that, and then value and price it in with the behavior of that new tool. So that's something that's been in the works for a while, and that people have been telling banks that you got to do this. Everybody, you got to figure this shit out. Because it was created in 1986 to help banks set rates in big corporate loans, and then it became the rate of lending from bank to bank, but low supervision, and it had inexact calculations at best. So it's an old model.
Exactly.
Right? It wasn't perfect to begin with, and then people just found ways to play it, and now we need to make changes. But it's kind of like, well, yeah, we do, but now it's really, really important. So how you make those changes could have real impacts through the entire financial system. So I don't even know what that looks like, what undertaking that process even looks like.
For them, they're doing banks. They have to take into account volatility. They have to take into account stochastic calculus because of randomness. They need to take into account the economic status. That equation in itself is going to be disgusting. It's going to be something that I don't even want to look at. They're going to integrate, derive, integrate again. They're gonna pop out some rabbits out of nowhere, and then they're gonna come up with this equation that doesn't make sense until some kids that need to go to grad school decide that they want to be in finance and they have to learn that. And then they're gonna be crying all the way through, and they're gonna say, "Wow, this wasn't even an advanced course. This was above advanced course to a doctorate level."
What Jeremy's trying to say is that grad school is hard. Grad school for finance isn't like bachelor's for finance.
No. And let's be specific. Financial engineering, not just finance, because you could do a finance degree and be smiling.
How you doing?
But if you do financial analytics, you do financial engineering, you're going to go into probability, you're going to go into that advanced calculus, and that's what they're going to be using in order to derive this LIBOR rate. That should be a variable one per company or per day.
Funny is how much of our stock markets and just markets in general, how much it's like what you do when you go on Google on the normal web browser, you see 1% of the internet. 99% of the internet is happening in the dark web. Most of the trading, the big problems, the biggest capital is being moved in structured products and strategies of things that you don't have enough capital to even look at. They don't even exist. These derivative products that derive their value from 17 levels of math, so basically to the point where math calculations. They have ways of being able to bet whether or not it's going to be sunny today through a lot of complex calculations that value all these different things to make that bet possible. It's innovative and it's amazing, but I for a long time thought that this behavior is exacerbating the problem, because you get people to play these games and we detach from reality. And then people manipulate these games, and then it becomes a system too big to take down, and then we end up with $30 trillion of debt, $1 trillion of corporate debt, and everybody's in the streets yelling and screaming and losing their minds. And all of a sudden, those dystopian movies don't seem so impossible. It's not that they seem impossible, but they don't necessarily seem like the most impossible thing that ever happened. You know what I mean? It's just, and that's a weird feeling when you look. These movies that these are stupid sci-fi. Actually, there's some little bits of truth in here I should studying. I should be taking notes.
It could be possible.
Just takes one controlling psychopath. So
in my mind, it used to be 0% possible. Now it's even if it's 1% possible, that's infinity growth from 0 to 1. It's an infinite growth of probability. That's oh shit.
So
wow.